Well, we are pretty much the end of February right now, and we're a little bit behind on our planting, but it's time to really get into gear of thinking of what needs to be planted for the 2023 garden season. Our first thing to be planted, or to be started, I should say, is going to be our peppers and eggplants, which we've actually been talking about for a couple weeks now, and it's going to happen today. So for us, this is going to be really simple this year. We have ping tongue eggplants, which we're going to plant again. 2022 wasn't a great year for them, but we really like this variety of eggplant. It's the only eggplant we're going to grow. Our big producer is going to be the Totally Sweet Italian frying peppers. We've really made the decision that this is going to be the bulk of what we grow. And it doesn't look like a lot of seeds there, but we're pretty sure we'll get quite a few plants out of them. And the last one is something we're actually kind of digging up from a few years back because we can't find more recent seeds, even though we're pretty sure we saved them. Somehow they are not in the stash. But these are the little Aurora hot peppers, which we've kind of made the decision because we're going just with the Totally Sweet Italian frying as sort of the main pepper. These little dwarf peppers can still produce us some hot peppers with a decent amount of kick for, chili powder, that kind of thing. But they take up extremely little amount of space, and we can probably do them in the porch. In 2022, we switched to the reusable sandwich containers, little Tupperware containers, over plastic bags because they're reusable. And so we've got our setup here. We always tend to start the eggplants and peppers on a paper towel, which I will go and moisten them momentarily, but I'm going to explain what's going on. So these eggplants here were saved from our eggplants in 2021 when we had a pretty good eggplant year. But we found in 2022 they didn't germinate super well. We're not sure 100% why. So we purchased some new ones from West Coast Seeds, and we're going to keep them separate for now, mostly just to see what the difference in germination is. That's why we put so many in here. We don't really need this many, but pretty sure they're not all going to come up. Back row here, we have Totally Sweet Italian frying peppers on this side, and the little Aurora hot peppers on that side. We have a lot of them started, but we're only growing the two kinds of peppers this year. We're hoping most of these will come up, as we're pretty sure they will. But these are a bit older, so we're not sure how they're going to do. But the nice part of it is, if they all come up, these little guys only get a foot tall, so we can find space for them. Well, next on our list of things to get planted is our Walla Walla onions. So we actually purchased some seeds from them this year because we didn't have anything go to seed last year. And we've got our container sort of set up for winter sowing, or I think it's called winter sowing. We're going to basically plant them, get some water on them, get some moisture in there, and then put them on the porch so that they can kind of just germinate when temperatures are ideal. But we also have a bag of Walla Walla onions that we grew last year. So last year was the first year we actually grew this variety, and we were pretty impressed with them. So we did use some of them, but we kept a lot of them aside. And the plan is to plant some of these and try to harvest some seed. So we're going to replicate what we did, I guess that was 2 years ago now, where we planted some red onions and got some red onion seeds with these. So tomorrow we will be getting them into a pot and hopefully trying to keep them alive until they can go outside as well. But first things first, we're going to get these seeds planted. So we're only going to do one pack of these Walla Walla onions because the last year when we planted a bunch, we did 2 packs worth and it was a lot of onions. We might do a staggered planting, we'll see, but we're going to start with this and kind of go from there.
Well, it's supposed to be 250 seeds. I don't know if I'm convinced on that, but we're going to sort of scatter them in here and see. Maybe another half pack is going to be necessary. I don't know. Do you think that looks like 250 seeds?
It's quite a few. Very simple process, just kind of scatter them on the surface. Historically, we've not been very good at growing onions, but after last year's experiments, I think 2023 is going to be a promising year for us.
Well, we are like a week into this spring planting. This is typical Hickorycroft fashion of everything seeming to take a lot longer than it should because other things get going. But today is the day that we are going to focus, and we're going to show you that in 1 week, we have a ton of peppers and a ton of eggplants that we got to get planted.
So, kind of upside down, but here are our totally sweet Italian frying peppers. As you can see, there's a lot of germination going on in there. These are kind of getting to that point that they need to be planted. So that's what this tray is for. We also have, kind of off to the side, these are our eggplants from 2021. And last year, for those of you who remember, we had a bad year getting eggplants to germinate. These are the same seeds that we used last year, so not so bad this year at all. So we're going to get those planted.
So now we have a lot of eggplants because
I'm going to show you. These are the ones that we also got from West Coast Seeds. And they're also up too. So lots to get planted on the eggplant front. We're going to keep these separate, at least for now. We might not by the time they get to the garden, but we want to track and see how they grow. So I'm going to go ahead and get these planted, and that's going to be step 1 today. So before we show you kind of where we're at here, one thing we are doing again is another planting of Aurora hot peppers, because the seeds that we planted in the first round aren't really doing much. We're going to leave them for a bit, but we found a bag of 2019 seeds. They look pretty good. So we're going to get that up on the shelf and see what happens in the next week or so, and hopefully get some more of them sprout. But this definitely shows you the importance, if you are saving seeds, of kind of the constant replenishing, and why it probably makes a lot of sense to just narrow yourself down to the things that you really want or really like, because we haven't grown these since 2020, I think was the last time we actually grew them, and we didn't save a lot of seeds from that. So hopefully we can get a few of these to sprout, because it only takes a few to start the process again. And the one thing that sort of specific to this variety is that they're not super easy to get. They were hard to get when we first got the seeds, and I've noticed that they've disappeared from a lot of the recent seed catalogs. But we like them, so we're going to see if we can get it to work.
Well, my former Pepsi addiction, I'm working on it, has given us a whole bunch of bottles that we were saving for apple juice in the freezer. And then we found out about canning apple juice and how wonderful it is, and therefore not taking up space in the freezer. So we are now repurposing all these bottles to do our herbs. So trying out some winter sowing. This isn't something that we have done before with herbs. We've only done it with the onions, but I'm excited. We're doing basil, parsley, cilantro, chamomile, chives. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to get in these bottles and get out in the porch and see how it goes.
Okay, well, it's getting later, but we have a table basically full of things that are planted. So the highlights really are the eggplants, of which we have 70, which is a lot more than we were.
Way more than we need.
That was more than we were anticipating. We have some lettuce started over there. We're starting some of the narrow-leafed coneflower. Then we have our peppers. So these are totally sweet Italian frying peppers, and there are 92 of them, I think, is what we actually ended up with.
So again, probably way more than we need.
But we've got quite a few different herbs and whatnot, and a few wildflowers in some basically bottles and whatnot that are ready to go out onto the porch to just kind of wake up on their own. We've got some celery started there, and our first round of lettuce. So all in all, not bad.
So mostly in my Pepsi container cold sowing, winter sowing, we did mostly herbs and flowers. This year I'm super excited actually to try and do some flowers. Every year we buy flower seeds with the best of intentions of planting flowers and doing a little bit of work on the yard, and we never quite get there. So hopefully by planting them at least we'll be a step ahead and motivated to get some of these in. We've gone with a lot of like kind of medicinal plants. We did the echinacea, we've gone with the Rudbeckia, the black-eyed Susan, things like that. And we've got a few more that are for later starting. But basically the only two things we haven't really planted yet that we want to get in, kale and our cabbage. We want those started pretty soon because we can get them out to the greenhouse. They're cold hardy and they will do just fine, and it'll get them out of the house and give us a really good spring start. So those have to still get planted, and we still have a lot of our herbs. I haven't done any of the marjoram, the savory, or chamomile, things like that, which still need to get done ASAP because we're running behind schedule already on some of those. But all in all, this is way ahead of what we were last year, which I think is really, really great. The porch is helping us with this because we have somewhere to put it right now, because really with our cats in the house, there isn't a lot of safe spots to kind of cool start stuff. But the main thing I think going forward is we're going to try and do lettuce every week. So we've got a lot of different kinds of lettuce. We've received some great seeds in our seed exchange, and we're looking forward to kind of trying some couple different ones every week as we go. So anyways, this is our main crop of spring sowing, I guess you could call it, in beginning of March. And stay tuned because we've got a lot more to plant. We haven't even started to tackle tomatoes or anything like that, melons, but it's all starting, folks, because guess what? Summer's right around the corner, and so is garden season.